Hello and welcome to another episode of Selling Life and Annuities. I'm Paul Bechtold, RVP and Manager of our Debt Elimination Programs at Hague Rd Marketing. And with me today is my good friend and associate, Brian Nates of Nates Financial Group. And we're here today to talk about the financial self-fulfilling prophecy. So with that, let's take off, Brian.
Absolutely.
So when we say that, Brian, what are we referring to?
Infinite Banking, the Becoming Your Own Banker movement. If you haven't read the book, you need to. And there's so many other ones that are for this educational resources. Become a student. Help clients get the banks out of their life and replace that banking function in their life. And for those that don't understand what I mean, when you do, it is like a light bulb goes off, isn't it?
Exactly. And so that's what we want to talk today about is exactly that is, Brian, you and I meet with clients on a regular basis. Yes. We also talk with other advisors, and both the advisor and client alike, there seems to be this little quandary they go through for a while, and then all of a sudden a light bulb goes off, as you said. And then I like what you say, which is once the light bulb goes off, then they know exactly what they need to do. Can you elaborate on that?
Sure. It actually came originally from Nelson Nash, the innovator, the creator of the concept of becoming your own banker, replacing the banking function in your life. And what he said years ago was, when you understand what the problem is, you will know exactly what you need to do. And part of the issue is people are so conditioned to do things the way the banks tell them to do things, and where to store their capital, and how to take out loans, and they have so many different functions going on in their life, and their monies are flowing away from them, never recapturing that money, never recapturing that interest. Every time you spend money on debt or other services, it is flowing away from you forever. What the power of becoming your own banker really is all of that money flowing back into your economy, back into your life, and you have complete certainty and control of that flow. Will build you more wealth and more death benefit and more capital to use again and again and again than you'll ever need.
Absolutely. So Brian, what I hear you saying is there's a lot of different concepts to both learn and to unlearn. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how might an advisor or client even go about better educating themselves and getting on the right track?
Good question, Paul. I would say from the advisor standpoint, like really understand the problems that you're wanting to solve for clients, right? Debt is crushing people. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
Right? And the banks are controlling so much. And the conditioning of you even as an advisor and your clients is so adamant. They have certain ways of thinking. You have certain ways of thinking. You really need to unlearn what you've been conditioned about the way banking systems work and where your money is flowing. A great start, I already mentioned it, but yeah, read the book if you haven't. Get the knowledge. There's tons of videos about becoming your own banker. Watch them. There's other books, like here's a great one, Bank on Yourself Revolutions, right? There's other strategies and concepts that you should be an expert so you can help your clients well and 10x your business, as those have heard me say.
Okay. So Brian, here's a quick question. Once somebody catches on to this and they see the power of dividend paying whole life insurance
Absolutely.
and what it can do for them, why wouldn't somebody put all their money into a policy?
Why wouldn't they, right? So here's what I want people to think about. If you can create the perfect solution, the perfect pathway, the perfect account, if you want to call it that, where you can store capital, Paul, right? And you can still use that capital, right? Still deploy it for other things. It should never, in my opinion, and I've heard this from other mentors of mine, be an either or conversation anymore. Well, should I put my money over here and do this investment? Or, I get a great rate of return with this thing over here. Okay, great. But where are you storing your dollars before using them for other things, right? And when you really understand that you have a storehouse for your wealth in a perfectly designed dividend-paying whole life contract, there's so much certainty, there's so much liquidity, so they can deploy it to do other things. And every dollar that you put inside of this special design, it's actually worth more immediately in the form of death benefit, right?
Absolutely.
And it's just storing more capital, growing, what would you say, Paul, on a dividend whole life, on average 4% or so?
4% or so net of costs.
Net of costs, and no taxes.
Absolutely.
Right? So this is the perfect account. Why would you not store as much money as possible inside of a perfect account? Or keep doing what you're doing, keep doing what the banks and Wall Street want you to do, and deploy your money to all these different resources and all these different accounts, and it's all separated, not working for you, not making an impact, and not creating more legacy.
So
Which one would you want?
Right, exactly. So, a couple of regrets that most clients have that we meet with when they discover this and they really catch on to it. What are those two things that most of them say to you in terms of regrets?
Yeah. One, I wish I would have started this sooner, because the sooner you can start storing capital, the sooner you can eliminate interest out of your life, get the banks out of your life, use those dollars in more ways than once, eliminate debt, make your investments, build more wealth, do other things with that. Brian, I wish I would have started this sooner. And Brian, I wish I would have designed this with you and trusted you more, which they do after they understand it, right? To build it larger, to store more capital inside of it. And that's great as an advisor, because you know what you can say? That's fine. We started this way. Let's create another policy where you can do that. Isn't that a great conversation to have?
Absolutely. On all your family members, on another one on yourself, whatever the case may be. So, one other element, would there ever be a time when you'd want to turn the premiums off and stop funding in retirement or anything? Would you ever want to do that?
So a lot of advisors almost advise that to do that, right? And there's a strategy there for that. I totally understand that. But when you really understand the uninterrupted compounding interest that every dollar, especially once it's built up, right? Every dollar that you're putting into this account, feel free to use it if you want. Take a loan against the policy because it's liquid, right? So feel free to do that. Why would you ever stop, Paul? Because the moment you put more money in, every dollar with the way these policies are designed creates more death benefit immediately, stores more capital to use for however you want. Think of it as your own little personal, you and I made this joke a while ago, and I'm going to say it. There's HELOCs out there, right? Building equity in homes, and people use the equity. Well, why not build yourself your own little LELOC, life equity line of credit? It's perfect.
Absolutely. Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So why would you ever stop?
Right. The analogy I like to use is if we had a money tree in our backyard growing money, right? And we woke up cold one day, we would never go out back and chop down the money tree to burn for firewood. We would pull money off the tree and go buy firewood. Right?
Absolutely.
So,
yeah.
Okay. Well, that's a great way to close, I think, Brian. We're running out of time today, but for you folks out there, give us a call. I mean, we have a wealth of knowledge to share with you. PaulGordonMarketing.com, 317-626-3054. Or Brian, how can they get a hold of you? Please?
Sure, call me as well. Brian at NatesFinancial.com. That's NATES financial.com. Brian at NatesFinancial.com, or 321-288-7745. Happy to discuss all strategies and make a difference for you and your clients.
Absolutely. Folks out there watching us, if you like this content, subscribe to our Selling Life and Annuities channel. Click the notification bell so that you'll be apprised of future episodes of Selling Life and Annuities. And also like, comment, and share with both your clients as well as other advisors you may know, and spread the word. So with that, Brian, thank you for being a part of this episode of Selling Life and Annuities. I'm Paul Bechtold with Gordon Marketing, Brian at Nates Financial Group, saying happy selling.